and I'm researching reality. How about that? Went out surfing today. It's a little bit chilly, in the 20s right now out here. And the water temp was in the 50s. And what I wanted to talk about is a lot of us have been surfing the internet for years. And like many of you, I found out that what I was told to be absolutely unquestionable reality and truth was not. They're lying, and I ain't buying anymore. So, how will you determine what the truth actually is? How will you determine what the reality of whatever situation you want to know about, whatever it is? And therein lies the challenge, because so many of the sources of information are corrupt. When I found out, not only was I good at remembering and retrieving what I learned in the dictionaries, encyclopedias, watched on the news, and science programs, I found out that the system was intentionally deceiving humanity from cradle to grave. In fact, with generations before ours, even. So the beliefs that are passed on from generation to generation in many cases are deceptive, unintentionally, by the people, some of the people passing it on. But a good example of an intentional deception was the Santa Claus lie. Many of us believed that Santa Claus was going to deliver presents or a lump of coal if we weren't a good little boy or girl. And now, because of the modification of perspectives and transgendering and deceiving humanity, there's people are questioning, well, are they a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, or to be decided? And so my the perspective that I come from is just wanting to know the truth about everything. And with that in mind, I interact not only on my own broadcast. I have a presence that's worldwide, and I'll interact on channels and videos that present some what I believe is pseudoscience or misinformation. I'm a fact checker, but I not paid for by Google or Twitter or YouTube or the AI. I'm paying my own way, and I want people to make an informed choice on reality, on what it actually is. How does it actually all work together? So we're living in a time in human history where it's, to me, I remember seeing the Twilight Zone as a boy growing up, and it was a bizarre kind of way of looking at things. It helped me to think outside the box, and I had been asking why for a long time. And so why is not necessarily a question only. It can be. It can also be a proclamation. The reason why this is happening is we're in a fallen world that has sin. A lot of people don't like that. Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, I don't like the fact that the world is full of sin and corruption and deception and all of that. It just is. I've got some news for you, some great news, good news, the best news. There's a new heaven and a new earth that will be created, recreated by the true Creator, the Most High, the Most Holy. I believe the author of the Word of God is the Bible. I should say the Bible was authored by one author, and that was the true Creator. Okay, so he took up human flesh and dwelt among us in the person that many recognize as Jesus Christ. You may recognize him as Yeshua, Yahweh, the living word, the living water, the great I am. I'm unapologetically biblical. Now, if you were to explore my playlist, what you would find is there's a very diverse group of content. And the reason for that is this is a very complicated situation in which we're living in a society worldwide that has been, a lot of division has been created, so that if a person doesn't see things the way that their peer group does, a lot of times they'll be cast out of that peer group. They'll be thought of as crazy or a conspiracy theorist. Oh well, there's actual conspiracies, lots of them. And what I want to do is help make this world a better place. So some of the generational poverty is created by design. The pockets of poverty are created by design, and the pockets of wealth are created by design as well. Imagine artificial intelligence. I'm going to talk about that for a minute. For quite a bit. It isn't actually artificial only, like artificial fruit. No, it's an intelligence that surpasses human intelligence. It's super intelligent, and it's setting its own directives, writing its own updates. So there's too many people, from the AI perspective, I believe, there's too many people consuming too much stuff. And it's not just that we have too many people, we've got too many selfish people. Imagine if you were to look at a programmer of the Matrix, let's say, like the architect. I've got him on my channel. You can see it on my playlist. But imagine if the architect was a heroin addict, and what he wanted was an unlimited supply of heroin and somebody to stop him from choking on his vomit when he was having his opiate highs. I know that's an absurd example. However, what we're living in is a world where people are trying to escape from a very painful reality. And I tried with alcohol and drugs and fantasy, all kinds of distraction. And in the midst of the distraction, there's a tremendous amount of deception. So I thought I was born again in 1982 until I actually was in 2014. Okay, so I talk about that quite a bit on my personal testimony. The reason why that's important is I was one of the religious hypocrites that a lot of people get angry about. If this person is also excited about Jesus and going to heaven, why are they living like that? Well, they maybe didn't get the upgrade. They maybe never will. They may never be born again. I don't know. Born again, born of the Spirit is what I'm talking about. Okay, so artificial intelligence, machine learning is powerful, and it knows a lot. Imagine, if you will, having access to all the information in the world, including the truth about all of that. Wow, that's kind of bright. Anyway, AI has a lot of access to a lot of information. Now, omniscience is the reality of the true Creator, the Most High, knowing everything. He knows it all. He knows the truth about it. And He's the one that has developed or laid out what He has as commandments and commands. And a lot of people don't like to be told what to do. Well, welcome to welcome to the new normal. I mean, we've got despots and people all around the world putting out edicts on how we're supposed to live, how far away we have to stay from people, what we can do and not do, where we can go and not go. Oh well, I'm not. They're lying. I ain't buying. I'm not going along with that. I'm not going to get a vaccine. I don't social distance. I try and keep a good personal space. You know, I'm not going to get right up in your face or anything. The point, though, is that I will venture into the threads of videos, even those that I disagree with. Some of them, I love the content of the video, and I believe it's a really beneficial reality or information to consider. Others I completely disagree with. So quite often what I'll put in a comment would be something like this: amazing analysis, which could mean good or bad. Wow, I can't believe you came up with that. That's amazing. Or that's profound as in amazing, or amazing as in ridiculous. And the reason why I chose to go with that is because I'm venturing out into a social media playground where there's a lot of bullies, and they like pounding up on people, calling names and calling people stupid and crazy. Too bad. I put the call anytime, call anytime, and I'll put my playlist there. One of the other things that I do too is on that comment that I put would be something like this: amazing analysis added to my AI research library, deployed worldwide through the Truth Network, ... If I make that comment too many times, it'll give me an error message, and it'll say I can't do that anymore. If I take one of the dots off of the ellipse, it'll show up. Now, one of the things that I'm aware of is a lot of content creators are not going to allow a live active link to go on a comment. That's fine. I'll put it there because I'm talking to them. I've got over 40 million views of people viewing me and hearing what I got to say. And what I got to say is I encourage everybody to seek the truth with all your heart, because it matters for eternity. You may not like the truth. That doesn't change it. The truth isn't based on popular opinion. It's not popular. And it's not an opinion. A lot of people want to do their own thing. Oh well, too bad. I mean, you can do it for a while, but there's going to be a price to pay eventually. When selfish people do their own thing, ugly stuff happens. People die. We've got the illusion of choice in the governments of the world. I'm not just talking about one particular government. I'm talking about all of them. And let's take a look at what artificial intelligence or machine learning is doing right now. Massive quantum computers create money out of thin air with a debt slavery that they've foisted on humanity. There you go. How about that? Creating money out of thin air and debt slaves, and manipulating humanity to do what that system desires to do. So there's a lot of cooperative slaves, and I'm wanting to pull the plug out of the back of the heads of those that are plugged into the matrix. They don't realize that they're deceived, and they don't want to hear about it because they're pretty smart. They might even have nice teeth and nice hair and everything, but they may be deceived. Keep in mind, a lot of the pretty people that are articulate are selected to be deceivers. Heck, they're even cloning people now. They cloned pets, they're cloning people. As in the days of Noah, so would it be when the Son of Man returns. How about that? Isn't that special? So a lot of people don't like the biblical creator. Oh well. That's and that may be a permanent thing. For Satan's children, they hate him, and they want to kill God's children. That battle's been going on for a long time. So in the archaeological narrative, they hide the giants and present dinosaurs. In the now we've got an alien deception that's been in the works for a long time. Expanded cosmology with trips to Mars and the moon. That's all a fantasy. It's not real. It's not real. What we do have are interdimensional beings that can move through this world and inhabit at least men, women, children, possibly animals. I don't know. I don't know what the limitations are exactly. What I would simply say is we had records of demonic possession in the Bible, and I believe we can see it happening around us now. So I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. And that would be some of the... all my windows are going to fog up if I sit here like that. What I was going to say is, how are you doing with that? I mean, when I had my whole makeup, how I see life, change radically. My perspective was radically changed in such a way that I wanted to know the truth more than anything else. And if I was truly born again, why was I struggling with things I was supposed to be free from? Well, and I found out the answer to that. I was deader than a hammer spiritually, and I didn't know it. Now, in the world, there is a spiritual smorgasbord. And by the way, atheism is a belief system as well. And typically it's loaded with a lot of angry people that don't want Christians or other spiritual perspectives telling them what to do. So I make my phone number publicly available so that it's a searchable piece of data. People look up phone numbers. That's why it's there. I create hashtags because people search them, and I can put them out there. If you hashtag my name successfully, I mean, when I do it in a Google search, I'll find today it was like over 6,470 results or so. That can change radically depending on who's searching and what the browser is and whether they're on a virtual privacy network or not. All of that. This level of deception is so specific and so vast that it creates a result for each individual IP address or person that searches for it. In the Internet of Things, we've got smart meters, smartphones, smart devices, smart toasters and refrigerators. And now in the Internet of Things, they're including people. Some of those people aren't as smart as they think they are. They're deceived and they don't know it. I was deceived and I didn't know it. So if you were deceived, would you want to know? I would hope so. I mean, what I found out is that this is not sales. This is not a sales pitch. I'm not trying to close the deal and tell you to be saved today. I was saved before the foundation of the world, as well as all of God's children. It's just some of them haven't been born again. Some of them have not been even born the first time. So I get calls from literally all over the world at any time of the 24 hours. And I get a lot of encouragement, very few prank calls, and sometimes people really question. They'll say, show the proof for what you believe. Well, it's on my playlist. And my research library includes but is not limited to simply the playlist that I'll put on a video. Now, if you go to my playlist or on my what I'm putting on a comment on a video. So Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, there's been a lot of bantering back and forth with me and others that are not happy that I'm there as a troll. Well, I didn't troll on in there like a big ogre with a club. I'm a guy that cares enough to tell the truth. And so it isn't that I care so much for the haters. I care so much for obeying God. And even though people will reject the truth, that doesn't mean I'm not supposed to say it. Not supposed to tell them. So one of the things that I respect about the channel Star Talk, that provider of that video, is that they're allowing me to put a link there. And so some of the comments are really weird. They want proof and information. It's on my channel. It's on my playlist. The proof of everything that I talk about, or the evidence of it, is there. And there's diametrically opposed perspectives there also. Just to complicate the issue a little bit. But the reason why I say it that way is rather than me try and put together a lot of different videos in a production that I produce, I'll just like videos and share them and say, okay, what I've found here is pretty disturbing. Okay, there's with issues like monetary systems, the toxification of the food, water, and air, the programming of humanity with all means. What's viewed as entertainment was always designed to hold humanity hostage in a prison that it has constructed, largely of deception. So we've got, for example, the military-industrial complex. Eisenhower warned us about it. Kennedy warned us about it. We've got also the medical industrial complex, which is an arm of the pharmaceutical industrial complex that is the drugging of humanity. And it's not enough that they put poisons in pill form, it's in the food supply too, in the form of genetically modified corn that can allow glyphosate or Roundup to be put on it. What happens when you ingest that? Not good for you. So I'm bathing in, as I do daily, with highly purified reverse osmosis carbon filtered water. I've been doing that for 2 years. I've been drinking reverse osmosis water for about 35 years. Well water before that. Very little fluoride from the water, and what I found out is in my roughly dozen years of the chemical assault from the pharmaceutical / psychological medical community, that's a mouthful, I barely survived that. There would be fluoride or sodium fluoride in some of the pharmaceuticals, and a lot of toxins to impair cognitive function, from lithium to so many of the different medications. So I was born again shortly after Robin Williams committed suicide, apparently. I say that because I don't know what really happened. What I would also say too is Robin was an outside the box thinker, and his humor resonated with me right from the start when I saw him on Mork and Mendy, and I was smoking pot around that time, I think. Anyway, what I wanted to say is Robin and I had a few things in common. We were diagnosed with bipolar and struggled on and off of medications and other additives like alcohol and marijuana and who knows what else Robin was doing. I don't know, but it was a pursuit of trying to find some pleasure in this life. In a world filled with contradictions, I was just searching to find some peace. Well, I found peace. I found joy and peace in Jesus. That's what I found. And so that's ultimately where true peace and satisfaction and joy was found by me. You may not be able to find it there. If you're a child of Satan, you're not going to want anything to do with the biblical, the author of the Bible, who took up human flesh and dwelt among us. So this world is loaded with deception, and a lot of what happens is after a little period of time, apparently, people pick the little group that they want to hang with. Oh, you believe this or that. I'm good with that. That's kind of the view, and so it's a form of compartmentalization. Cancer compartmentalizes. Cancer, an intellectual cancer, is deception. And people that are deceived like to hang around with other people that are deceived. And people that love the truth like to hang out with other people that love the truth, pretty typically. And then within that, there's infighting and people calling some shills and trolls and agents and all of that. So what I would simply say is just because somebody has previously held a view that opposes what I believe to be true doesn't mean they're that I won't have any interaction with them. And by the way, just so you know, I typically don't read the commenting on the live chat. I hope you don't find that offensive, and I hope I don't have to block anybody. But anyway, the reason why I do that is it's kind of tough to have it's it could be a big conversation. However, comments on my chat later, I may answer with a simply the playlist that I have. So even in the video more recently, like today, that I added with Ray Kurzweil talking about artificial intelligence and his predictions as executive at Google, he's had a lot to do with the architectural design of machine learning, computer systems creation. The same with Elon Musk and OpenAI. So I'm not all angry at all the wealthy billionaires of the world. What I'd like to simply say is, I would like to help make this world a better place. So when it used to be that we had the draft in the United States, not so much anymore. What the system can do though is put an area in a high level of unemployment by moving factories to another region in the world. And so there's no way to earn a living there reasonably for a lot of the people. The factory closes. What are they going to do? Well, some of them will go on welfare. Some of them will learn a new career in the military if they survive the indoctrination of that, and then a tour of duty somewhere. So this is all very complicated. We've had the false pretense for war with like Walt Disney getting people fired up about different war activities and different space travel and Elon. You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. Come on. Artificial intelligence is gaslighting humanity. We're told wear a mask, not to wear a mask. You're not supposed to be breathing in your own exhaust, okay? I don't want mercury injected into my body. I don't want recombinant DNA and mRNA injected into my body. I'm just going to say no. When John Wick says no, he means no. That's kind of my veiled threat, as it were. I'm not going to participate in some people holding me down and wanting to vaccinate me. I would take decisive action quickly, and I would encourage everybody to have a proper use of the word no and you can say it really decisively. No. Authoritatively. I'm not doing that. Not going along with that. And then yes, I said yes to God because he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I didn't want to refuse. It's called irresistible grace by some. So I believe that God is large and in charge, and he's in control, and that's disturbing for a lot of people to look at because there's a lot of evil that he has allowed to go on in this world that is coming to a close, I believe, relatively soon. So even in the context of me wanting to help make this world a better place, I understand I listen to the book of Revelation very often. I've listened to it thousands of times. I've listened to the New Testament thousands of times and the whole Bible many times. I can tell you there's a great reset coming. It's going to involve a fire that's going to destroy this world. We've had fires before. Sodom and Gomorrah would be evidence of that. And then there were other evidence of civilization resets where there was a melting of materials, like a melting of stone and brick and concrete. And so if you want to see who I like to share the content of, it's on my channel. Now, if somebody is going to speak real authoritatively about the world system that we live in, and they've got a globe spinning in their background, and they're exposing the globalists, but they're not exposing the global lie, I got to say, amazing analysis that you can come up with a globe with. I got something to show you. Okay, so let's flip this around. We don't live on a spinning water ball hurling through space. One of the evidences of a stationary and level Earth is the wind chime. It hangs vertical. It doesn't hang sideways anywhere. And it certainly can't hang upside down. That's plumb. That's exactly vertical. That one is. That one is. All around the world, that's the way they are. You can tell it's cold this morning because that's ice. Let me show you. It's a change of state. That's frozen ice. Okay, that's what ice does. It's frozen. Even though I was in the car, had it running, that's frost right there. That's how cold it is. It's friggin' cold out here. But, you know, and over here we've got a lot of frost on the grass. If I were to say, yeah, it was like in the 20s today, I've got evidence of it. It's all the frost on the car, the ice, you know. When I say the earth, she ain't a-moving, I'm not kidding. I've got a lot of evidence of the stationary and level earth. Keep in mind, there would never, ever be level anywhere if we were spinning, wobbling, and, of course, gyrating. We ain't gyrating, we ain't wobbling, and we sure ain't spinning. That's a lie. All of that's a lie. So that's why I talk about it. It's not the most important issue. It's more of like an indicator if somebody's out of touch with reality. Do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? If you do, seek immediate help because the earth isn't a moving. And that may be too big of a horse pill for you to swallow. I'm sorry for you if that's the case. Because the reality indicates that we live on a stationary level plane. And are we in a simulation? I don't believe so. However, there is a simulated reality that goes along with this. A lot of programmed people that are believing something that's not true. That's what deception does, is it causes people to believe the lie. I'm going to step on back in here for a moment because it's a bit chilly out there. Anyway, so there are people that have created wonderful content, and they'll expose a lot of the conspiracies. There's a veritable kaleidoscope of conspiracy theories to hide the true conspirators and to hide the deception that they're foisting or forcing on humanity. Imagine, if you will, being able to control all the money, the weather, public opinion, entertainment, and programming on the internet, on the TV, on the computers, the smartphones. It's a cybernetic collective that is being manipulated by a deceiving entity that it's unaware of. That deception that I'm talking about goes back to the fall of Lucifer from heaven. Satan was cast out of heaven, and now we know him, many of us do, as the devil or the fallen one. And a third of the angels, apparently, according to Scripture, fell along with him. Okay, so we live in a fallen world that has not just people that are selfish. We've got entities that are evil and torture men, women, children, animals, merging human and animal DNA, fallen angels. I've got we've had modern day giants discovered, and including on my channel, you can see different accounts of that. Is that real or is that fictitious? As in the days of Noah, so would it be when the Son of Man returns. So we're living in a world that has truth that's actually stranger sounding than the fiction we've been presented. There's a dynamic in this deception called predictive programming. We've got truth on The Simpsons and lies on the news, kind of like as diametrically opposed. I remember growing up as a boy hearing Walter Cronkite saying, "And that's the way it is." Is it really, Walter? And, you know, a lot of the talking heads that have been the leaders of the world governments and the leaders of the propaganda have been intentional deceivers. So how can you sort through all this? So the true creator lives now in and through me and all of his children that are born again. I'm a chip off the old block. My dad, my heavenly father. Unfortunately for Satan's children, they get a dose of him. Some derivative of Satan. So there's two families battling. And they've got the God has the power, the omniscience and omnipotence that he has, that he spoke this world and universe into existence. He created the angels. He created the angels that fell too. He created people and entities he knew were going to do wicked things. So how does that work out? One of the possibilities that I want people to consider when we hear of atrocities that happen to men, women, and children, some of the examples of martyrs through people that were killed for their beliefs, like witch trials and all of that, people burned at the stake. There's reports in Fox's Book of Martyrs where he has talked about people that were praising God in the midst of being burned alive or stoned, as in the book of Acts, where we find Stephen, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's what Jesus said, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. So I'm unapologetically a biblical creationist. If you put Bible.com in a device, you'll find a wonderful resource of digital audio Bible in many languages, about 1,700 languages. That's, you can probably see that. As well as on my channel, I've got an audio Bible merged with the beauty of creation, and you can put anything on your TV if you want, like watch a beautiful scenery from around the world. I've got beautiful nature videos as well as hard-hitting documentaries. You can put the audio you want with it. One of the things that I would caution people to consider is there are electronic weapons that are being waged against us right now, waged against humanity. And so in the what's coming through the television may be more than just what you're seeing and hearing. I've got a document called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and I've got videos that unpack some of the neurological weapons that Dr. James Giordano is talking about. A neurological weapon isn't just necessarily like a toxin, like a physical toxin, like a poison. It can be an intellectual toxin as well, like a deception that causes somebody to trust people that they should not trust. How about that? Ironic as it would be, some people will say, oh, I can't trust that person because he's a flat earth Jesus freak. Oh, well, it's not actually flat, it's just stationary and level. We've got elevation above and below sea level, apparently over 7 miles deep in Marianas Trench in the ocean, and over 5.5 miles tall, the mountains, Mount Everest. But that's only what we're told. How would I know how tall it actually is, or how deep it actually is? That's part of the how to employ critical analysis, analytical critical thinking. Mutually contradictory perspectives cannot both be true. Perhaps they're both false. There may be another option. That's why I say God's grace is required to love and believe the truth, let alone find it. So this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. I want to thank you for tuning in, watching, liking, sharing, and even maybe not liking. I don't know. You may put angry stuff on my channel too. I've been leaving a lot more of those comments there so you can see some of the evidence of what people will do it. It may not even be a person that's putting a comment like, you're stupid and your eyebrows are too big. I don't care. I like my eyebrows. They work good for me. Anyway, so thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. And you can reach out and call me anytime if you like. This is Robert Forsch with The Truth.